All right, ladies and gentlemen, it is time to go racing from Atlanta. Mark Nelson and Ray Hillhouse will have the front row. Jared Heasley, Eric Stoy sit on the second row. Third row is going to be Stephen Gibson and Mike Smith. Hold on just a moment. Looks like iRacing just decided to wonk out on us. Trying to determine what the heck has gone wrong here. My apologies. I'm not sure if this is just me or if the whole league is suddenly having problems. But we are getting situated here.
Hey Doug, in iRacing it says you dropped due to upload packet loss.
Oh, thank you. That's what we got a Nicole for. So give us just a moment as... I don't think so, Russell. I think that's completely wrong, buddy. Well, this is definitely a first time for this issue. Stick with us, so we're getting back in as quickly as is possible. Thank you for your patience. It does. We do end up having technical glitches with stuff occasionally. It doesn't happen often, and well, to be perfectly honest, this is a first for this particular issue. But now we'll be back in. We'll be a few laps into this thing, but hopefully we'll figure out what's going on. All right, just about back into this mess, and yep, we are back. Lap 6, does not look like we've had a caution yet, and Jared Heasley quickly going to the lead. Steven Gibson now in second, Mark Nelson in third, Eric Stoy in fourth, Kevin Reed up into fifth. Points leader Jeff Hinkle back 7 spots into 10th right now. Heasley in the MS Society car back out front. Sparks from, oh, Heasley gets loose out of 2. We did hear the drivers talking about this early on, that this would be an issue, especially after that first few laps, and some drivers said it didn't matter. From lap 1 till they change the tires, every lap the car is loose. Mentioned Mark Dantuma and Gerald Poole would be trying to make their way forward. Gerald now up into 15th. Mark Dantuma currently running in 12th, as it looks like Brian Oshinska has had some problems. Looks like Brian's problems might have started a little bit sooner. Here he is coming through 3 and 4. Oh, loose off of 4, hangs on to it, keeps it out of the way, ends up in the wall though. Brian's night coming to a close early here. Meanwhile, Steven Gibson up to the lead. Jared Heasley currently sits second. Battle for third between Mark Nelson and Eric Stoy. Stoy's going to come up on the high side and take third. Kevin Reed back into fifth. Ray Hillhouse now up into sixth place. Austin Abel currently sits seventh. Mike Smith now up into eighth. Richie West ninth. Jeff Hinkle, the points leader, sitting back in 10th. With Hinkle in 10th and Heasley up into second place, it does look like Heasley would reclaim the points lead that he had earlier this season if he can hold on to that spot. But remember, Hinkle is the tire-saving king. He's going to be the one to watch come up through this field once tire wear becomes a big issue. Bill Percy picking up a couple spots here early, now up into 17th. Michael Whiting, who did not get to complete his qualifying run, currently sits 16th. Nick Marco back in 19th, had problems on qualifying, looking to make his way forward. Gerald Poole sits in 15th, Brandon Springer in 14th. DJ the Iceman Kenner in 13th. He is following Mark Dantuma as Mark continues marching his way to the front. Meanwhile, Steven Gibson out front past the leader Jared Heasley and continues to pull away a bit here. All the drivers said very unlikely to have this race go green to the finish. The cars are definitely a handful here tonight. Heasley starting to close back in now. He's going to bring Stoy with him. Mark Nelson and Kevin Reed right behind. Kevin looking like he might have something here. Nick Marco has had a problem. He's now on pit road. Off of turn 4, Nick gets loose. He comes through the grass. Does not look like he actually did ever go to pit road. He manages to hold on to it. Gibson had a little bobble. It is bumpy around this track, too. These guys have kind of held on to the car all night. It is bumpy, abrasive, eats the tires. The cars are difficult tonight. It's definitely going to make for an interesting race. Mark Nelson running a lower line. Looked like he might have something to take third back from Stoy. Mark entering turn 1 on the high side, cuts it down in the middle, and gets a big run off turn 2. He's going to get the nose in as they go off into 3. Now side by side, Mark Nelson on the bottom, Eric Stoy up top. As Jared Heasley closes back in. Oh! Bobble out of Mark Nelson. Manages to hold on to it. Meanwhile, Jared Heasley closing back in on Gibson's bumper. Kevin Reed starting to look underneath Mark Nelson. Oh, Mark loose off 2. Ray Hillhouse now in a battle with Austin Habel. Austin, another driver on the move. Oh, Austin gets loose out of 4. He is still fighting that car. What a save by Austin Habel. Hillhouse still up top. He pulls away. It looks like Austin's got his hands full, but he's gathering it back up. Hillhouse clears into 6th place. Kevin Reed now going by Mark Nelson up on the high side. Kevin's got the run off turn 4. Kevin Reed now to 4th place. Jeff Hinkle, the points leader, sits in 8th. Richie West in 9th. Mark Dantuma now up into 10th. Mike Smith currently runs 11th. DJ Kinner in 12th. Gibson has opened up a big 1 second lead. Eric Stoy has now made his way to 2nd. Looks like Heasley is starting to fade. Kevin Reed goes by on the bottom. Gerald Thanos Poole has had a problem. Here comes Hillhouse on the bottom for 4th. Oh, Heasley may have given the wall a kiss. Austin Habel still battling side by side with Mark Nelson. Let's see what happened with Thanos. Backing it up just a little bit to see where Gerald's problem started here. Gerald gets a little bit loose there through 3 and 4. Looks like he's got the car handled though. Rick Sargent getting by. Out of turn 2, you see the car just starting to go loose on him. He tries to save it, but just couldn't get her gathered up. Ends up in the outside wall, then the inside wall. Austin Habel now Austin gets loose again. Heasley up on the outside. Heasley continuing to fall back. Now back in 6th. Mark Nelson now having to battle Jeff Hinkle. Hinkle starting to come alive. Heasley tries to fight back up on the high side. Stephen Gibson continues to lead. Eric Stoy not able to close that 1 second gap yet. Ray Hill out. Oh, look at that. Eric Stoy gets loose. Hillhouse almost gets a run to the inside off turn 2. Hillhouse, another one that's on the march. Ray looks down to the bottom, can't get around Eric Stoy yet. Gibson opening up to a 1.3 second lead as Ray Hillhouse now looking for second place from Eric Stoy, drives it deep into 3. He's going to clear Eric easily into second place. And now Hillhouse setting his sights on the leader, Stephen Gibson. Nobody's been able to get to Gibson since he took the lead. Eric Stoy sitting back in 3rd, Kevin Reed in 4th, Jared Heasley currently in 5th as now Mark Nelson gets down to the bottom. Nelson's going to take 5th. Jeff Hinkle now up into 7th as he starts making his way forward. Austin Habel still battling though. I think Austin Habel has battled just about everybody he's encountered tonight. Oh, Heasley almost gets the wall. Hinkle's got a big run out of 2. Hinkle now drops down to the bottom, easily clearing Heasley. 27 laps into this, these guys are begging for fresh tires. Hillhouse is chopping away at Stephen Gibson's lead. It is when he took second place, the gap was 1.5 seconds. He has cut it down to 0.7. Eric Stoy now back in 3rd. Kevin Reed in 4th, Mark Nelson in 5th, Jeff Hinkle now up to 6th. Austin Habel still in 7th. Jared Heasley drops back to 8th. Mark Dantuma in 9th. Richie West holding on back in 10th. DJ Kenner currently runs in 11th. Oh, Gerald Poole may be out of contention here. He forgot to turn on his fast repair. Rick Sargent also on pit road at the moment. And Nick Marco now coming in. It looks like green flag stops are underway for the first time. Lap times have already fallen off almost a full 3 seconds since the drop of the green flag. Eric Stoy has had a problem. Eric gets loose coming down the front stretch. That quad oval gets dicey when those tires get worn. It doesn't seem like coming through there's a lot of turning, but on this track, when these tires start to break away on you, yeah, that quad oval can be a killer. Gibson still out front. Hillhouse in 2nd. Hillhouse has cut the gap now down to under half a second. Mark Nelson currently runs in 3rd. Kevin Reed now in 4th. Austin Habel has made his way back into 5th. There is a big mess back here. Heasley gets loose off 4. Habel now looking under Kevin Reed. He's going to go back into 4th. Reed still fighting, but Hinkle on the bottom. Dan Tuma has just marched his way from the back, somehow come through this field on without burning up his tires, is now up into 7th place. Kevin Reed looked like he might have been struggling through the quad oval that time. He moves up to the high side. Here comes Dan Tuma on the bottom. Dan Tuma is going to clear into 6th place. Heasley now looking back. Oh! Heasley gets a little squirrely. Richie West is going to come by on the bottom. So is DJ Kenner. Kenner now up into the top 10. DJ, another one to keep an eye on throughout this race. Gibson has extended his lead by a couple tenths, now up to 6/10 of a second. Meanwhile, Mark Nelson continues to close back in. We've seen a few drivers on pit road for fresh tires already. There is Rick Sargent and Nick Marco, both on fresh tires. Not on the lead lap, but you'll see the difference. Look at Nick run up to the back bumper of the 18. Oh, Heasley gets a little tap of the wall there. Heasley now dropping back to 11th. Gibson holding that 6/10 of a second lead over Hillhouse. Mark Nelson in 3rd, now right back to Razorback bumper. Habel in 4th, trying to close the gap. Hinkle in 5th. Dan Tuma now up into 6th. Kevin Reed back in 7th. Richie West, another one on the move, in 8th. Richie looking underneath Kevin Reed, trying to take the 7th spot away. Can't do it. Fuel-wise, these guys might be able to make it to the halfway point, but I don't see anybody trying that. I would expect drivers on pit road in the next 5 laps. Michael Whiting has fought his way up. He is now to 10th. Mark Nelson is coming in from 3rd place. He is the first of the leaders on pit road. The fall off has been significant. These guys, now that Mark Nelson has made the choice to come to pit road, these guys have got to come soon. Stephen Gibson's fastest lap of 30.95, last time by 33.3. 2.5 seconds is the fall off, and it does look like Gibson. No, he is not coming in. Nor is Hillhouse. Dan Tuma's on his way in. Mike Smith is coming in as well. Brandon Springer is in. Mark Nelson has completed his stop. Stephen Gibson continuing to lead here. He is slowing down. Gibson is coming to pit road. Hillhouse is going to claim the lead here. Ray Hillhouse to the point for the first time tonight. DJ Kenner, Michael Whiting on pit road. Austin Habel now up in second. Jeff Hinkle in third. Not surprised to see Jeff Hinkle stretching a couple extra laps. Austin Habel is on pit road. Hinkle is in. Hillhouse is staying out. Richie West, Kevin Reed are in. Bill Percy is staying out. Bill Percy now to second place. He needs the caution. Ray Hillhouse still in the lead, but he is slowing. He is coming to pit road. He gives up the lead. Will Bill stay out hoping for the caution? Bill is going to stay out. Bill Percy to the lead for the first time tonight. Ray Hillhouse is now on pit road. Bill Percy will complete the cycle of pit stops when he comes in. Rick Sargent coming by to unlap himself. Bill pulls it down to the bottom. He cranks it down. He is coming to pit road. Gibson will reclaim the lead here. Mark Nelson currently sits in second place. Vern Spring in third. Vern pitted on lap 17. He'll have a few more laps before he has to come in. Jared Easley currently sits in fourth. Mark Dantuma in fifth. Hillhouse drops back into sixth. Austin Habel now in seventh. DJ Kenner in eighth. Jeff Hinkle back in ninth. And Michael Whiting now in 10th. Brian Oshinska on his way back off pit road. Brian has been on pit road for a while. Looks like he had some problems earlier on. After the first round of green flag pit stops, Gibson looking to start putting cars a lap down. Nick Marco already laps down, and here comes Gibson around him. Bill Percy currently scored in 14th, the last car on the lead lap. Eric Stoy, who had been up front, has drifted back into 13th after that stop. Jared Heasley, who had led earlier on, back in third. Mark Nelson has also been to the point tonight, currently running in second, but it is still Stephen Gibson up front. And Ray Hillhouse, who charged back through the field earlier on, is now back in 7th place, fighting. Oh! What in the world? Looked like Austin Habel got loose off of 2. Let's see what happened. There was a lap car down on the bottom. Vern Spring, who moves out of the way, and Austin moved down a little bit. I think he might have gotten a little loose. Ray Hillhouse saw the opportunity, slips by on the high side. Question is, did Hillhouse get any damage? Was there any contact? Seeing if we can see, does not look like any damage to the car. Hillhouse now up into 5th place. Gibson's lead now 1.6 seconds over Mark Nelson. Heasley 3.7 seconds back in third. Dan Tuma another 2.3 seconds back in fourth. Hillhouse closing in fifth, just 0.8 of a second back. Austin Habel losing some time on that exchange. He is now back in sixth with DJ the Iceman Kinner not far behind in seventh. Hinkle holds on in 8th. Michael Whiting in 9th. Kevin Reed in 10th. "52 laps in, about to hit the halfway point. No caution yet." That definitely speaks to the skill of these drivers, as many cars as we've seen get loose, sliding around, getting into each other. Ray Hillhouse continuing to close in on Dan Tuma. Back behind, Austin Habel in a 4-car battle. DJ Kinner, Jeff Hinkle, Michael Whiting there. DJ gets the run, takes the spot, and Jeff Hinkle is going to cut through underneath. Jeff came in tonight with a 10-point lead over Jared Heasley. Jeff Curley runs in 7th, Heasley in 3rd. Hey, good evening, Richie. How's it going, man? Vern Spring has come to pit road. Remember, he had the odd off-cycle pit stop on lap 17. Vern got himself into the top 5, but the pit strategy not paying off here. Hope everything's going okay, Richie. Mark Nelson in 2nd place has cut the lead down just a little bit, down to 1.5 seconds, not making any major gains as Rick Sargent has towed to pit road. He had gone off track. Let's see what happened to Rick. Oh, looks like Rick just gets a push off turn 4, can't get the car to turn down through the quad oval. Great job holding it down through the grass onto the apron. Ray Hillhouse sits 3rd, Jared Heasley in 4th, and now Mark Dan Tuma up to 5th. Dan Tuma is looking for that 4th place spot as DJ Kinner closes in. Hinkle's gaining on him, Michael Whiting as well. Dan Tuma makes his way up into 4th place. About 50 laps to go. These guys are going to be fighting it out every single lap, it looks like. Every time we think they're starting to spread out and settle down just a little bit, something like this happens. Hinkle has a little bobble off turn 4. Austin Habel currently holds on to 9th, but Kevin Reed is closing in 10th. Richie West had made his way up to 8th before the pit stops. Now sits back in 11th, trying to make his way back forward. Eric Stoy sits in 12th. Bill Percy now up to 13th. Bill Percy was not confident at all coming into tonight, but obviously starting to make up some ground. Just past the halfway mark, and let's see if we can talk to race control. Hey, Nicole, it's Doug. You got me?
Yep, gotcha.
It is compared to last night, a surprisingly quiet night on track.
Yes, it is. Very quiet.
I have to say, last night, I know from what I've read, was a bit exciting out there, but that was the newer version. Out here on the old version of Atlanta, these guys have their hands full.
Yeah, they're loose off the turn 2. Really good tonight.
Well, it's been an exciting one so far. Who do you pick here? We're just past halfway. Any predictions?
I think right now Mark Dantuma's doing pretty good, and Jeff Hinkle's coming up. He's slowly going up there, and so I'm hoping that either one of those two can catch up to Gibson up there.
All right. Well, good luck in race control. If it breaks out and gets wild, you may have your hands full.
That I probably will. Thanks, Doug.
Nicole, that's what she said. Creasel, obviously listening to Rocky music. Gibson still in the lead, still chomping away at lap cars. Nelson starting to close in, though, as they navigate that lap traffic. Ray Hillhouse almost 6 seconds behind the leader, but he is gaining now. Mark Dantuma sits 4th. Jeff Hinkle sits 5th. Austin Habel in 6th. Now DJ Kenner back to 7th. Kevin Reed in 8th. Jared Heasley, who was up there in the top 3, looks like he has the short run speed, but long run does not have much in it. Currently sitting in 9th, whereas Richie West is starting to find his speed. He is back in the top 10. Michael Whiting still in the lead lap in 11th. Eric Stoy in 12th. Bill Percy, the last car on the lead lap, in 13th. But just a straightaway ahead of the leader. Late in a row, Jeff Hinkle sends it into turn 3. Looks like Dan Tuma knew he was beat on that one, didn't want to fight him out. Now Hinkle up to 4th. This is where Jeff Hinkle tends to shine late in the run. It's been 20 laps since he went to pit road. Everybody else's tires have worn a lot more than Hinkle's. He knows how to save them, and now this is where it pays off. Steven Gibson out front has a 1.5 second lead over Mark Nelson. Ray Hillhouse sits third, Jeff Hinkle fourth, Mark Dantuma in fifth. Austin Abel, who we saw fighting with everybody on track earlier, probably been the guy in the most battles, currently sits in sixth place, closing in on Dantuma and Hinkle. Another guy marching his way forward, DJ Kinner, another one of the drivers that did not qualify. Kevin Reed holding on to eighth, has been pretty steady all night. No big moves, but he has been in the fight throughout the night. Richie West now up to ninth, and Jared Heasley has slid back to 10th. And it looks like Michael Whiting has got to his bumper, and Eric Stoy not far behind. As we mentioned earlier, it looked like Heasley had the short run speed and probably the fastest car on fresh tires. But on the long run, Heasley is giving up a lot. Oh, and Bill Percy has had an incident. And it looks like Bill has gone to pit road. Let's see if we can get an earlier look at what happened to Bill here. Well, starting a lap before Bill Percy off into 1 and 2. Down the back straightaway, off into turn 3. Everything so good. So far, so good. Back through 1 and 2. Not sure what happened here. Bill obviously had some speed tonight. He was closing in on Mike Smith. Oh, the car just snaps loose out of turn 4. Same thing we saw at Gerald Deno's pool earlier on. Bill almost perfectly parks it in a pit stall. DJ Kinner is on pit road. Jeff Hinkle is on pit road. Final pit stops underway with 35 laps to go. Mark Dantuma has had an incident. Oh, Mark, same thing we saw to Bill. He just keeps it lower. Manages to get the car straightened back up onto the track. Eric Stoy, Michael Whiting, Jared Heasley on pit road, as is Ray Hillhouse and Richie West. Steven Gibson still has the lead. Mark Nelson, Austin Habel, Mark Dantuma, and Kevin Reed have not been in yet. Everybody outside the top 5 is or has been on pit road for their final stop. Mark Nelson is giving up second place. He is coming in. Austin Habel's going to stay out. Dantuma staying out as well. Kevin Reed also staying out. Jeff Hinkle on fresh tires. Looks like Jeff, at the moment, the highest running car on fresh tires, currently sits in 6th place, trying to work his way around the top 5. Here comes the leader, Gibson, on pit road. Austin continues to stay out. Dan Tuma's on pit road. Austin Habel to the lead. And Jeff Hinkle just behind, about to unlap himself. Austin loose off turn 2. Here comes Hinkle with a run. Mark Nelson's on the bottom. Hinkle in the middle of 2 slower cars and just cuts right up the middle. Hinkle goes by and unlaps himself. Jeff Hinkle just put himself on the lead lap, now up to 4th place. Kevin Reed is on pit road. Here comes Austin Habel to pit road. Steven Gibson now may reclaim the lead, but here comes Hinkle. Hinkle just 2.4 seconds back in 2nd place. Steven Gibson, however, has led the most laps so far tonight, currently in the lead with just over 25 laps to go, and has started pulling away from Jeff Hinkle again. Mark Nelson sits in 3rd. DJ Kenner now up into 4th, and Richie West now into 5th place. Fast Cars Pit Strategy have gotten several drivers back into the top 5 here. Michael Whiting, who didn't qualify at all, currently runs in 6th. Jared Heasley sits 7th. Eric Stoy now up into 8th. Mark Dantuma back in 9th, and Vern Spring up into 10th. Worth noting, last time Vern pitted was lap 53. He is still going to come to pit road one more time. And Nicole Creasel makes a very good point. The cars have been loose all night, but these drivers have been saving them all night. We have not seen a caution yet. Gibson continues to lead, sets his sights on, I believe that is Kevin Reed just ahead. Kevin has drifted all the way back to 16th. Does look like he got a speeding penalty on pit road. Kevin, who had been running up in the top 5 most of the night. Steven Gibson, meanwhile, continues to put cars a lap down. 10th place Vern Spring just about a half a straightaway ahead. Be 24 laps to go this time by. Vern Spring will be the last car to hit pit road. Everybody else has completed their final stop. Oh, Vern a little loose in 3 and 4. The leader gets right to his bumper. You can see Vern, great save. He holds on to it. That back end just twitching around. Jeff Hinkle, meanwhile, losing ground to the leader, now 6 seconds back as Mark Nelson comes underneath it in the fight for second. Jeff Hinkle sits in third. Back and forth is DJ, the Iceman Kenner. Richie West up into fifth. Mark Nelson now into second place. Hinkle back to third. DJ Kenner about 2.8 seconds back and gaining. Richie West in fifth has his hands full. Michael Whiting and Mark Dantuma both right there. That is the battle for fifth between those 3 cars. Dantuma looks to the high side on Whiting as they go off into turn 3. High side tends to be the place where these guys save the most tires, but a lot of drivers saying it was the looseness was worse up top tonight than anywhere else. Mark back to the high side through 1 and 2 as he sets his sights on Richie. He's got a big runoff too. Mark comes by into fifth. Richie West now to sixth, has a battle with Michael Whiting. Whiting up top. Oh, Richie, a little bobble out of 4. Eric Stoy is gaining as well. Steven Gibson's lead now 5.8 seconds as it looks like Mark Nelson is starting to gain some ground here. Ray Hillhouse looks like he got a speeding penalty on his final stop, as well as Austin Habel. Multiple speeding penalties on that last pit stop has put several of the fastest cars at the back. Mark Nelson currently sitting in second place, trying to close the gap. Not having much luck. The gap 6 seconds. Jeff Hinkle back in third. 3.5 seconds back. DJ Kenner was gaining on Hinkle. That gap now 2.25 seconds has stabilized. Meanwhile, Mark Dantuma, currently in fifth, is charging forward. He is just over 1 second behind the Iceman. Mark Dantuma came in on lap 78. DJ and everybody else in front came in on lap 71 or 73, except for our leader, Gibson, stayed out till lap 78. Those 5-lap fresher tires are definitely making a huge difference here for Mark as he gets a little loose off 4, but manages to hold on to it. Mark Nelson currently in 6th, now has a big gap on Jeff Hinkle. DJ Kenner in 4th, has Mark Dantuma already there. Mark has pulled away from Michael Whiting and Eric Stoy. Richie West has now drifted back to 8th, Heasley in 9th. Hillhouse, despite the speeding penalty, currently in 10th. Mark Dantuma easily gets by DJ Kenner, 13 laps and just over 2 seconds behind Jeff Hinkle. Can Dantuma get to a podium finish here? Stephen Gibson's lead 5 1/4 seconds over Mark Nelson. Mark has picked the pace up, but does not have enough time. He's going to have to go a lot faster to catch the leader. Jeff Hinkle now 6.5 seconds behind Nelson. And Mark Dantuma now down to 1.3 seconds behind Hinkle. Brandon Springer has had a problem. Tries to cut down off of turn 4 through the front straightaway. Gets a little loose through 1 and 2. Looks like he managed to hold on to it. Oh, here is the right replay. Brandon Springer, Mike Smith right to the bump. Holy cow! Springer gets way loose off of turn 4. Jeff Hinkle sits in 3rd. Mark Dantuma less than a second behind. But the lap car of Ray Hillhouse between them. Dantuma looking underneath Hillhouse. That's not for position. 8 laps to go. Jeff Hinkle just ahead 3/4 of a second in 3rd place. Hinkle will maintain the points lead as he runs. Jared Heasley currently sits in 2nd in points, 9th on the track. AJ Gonsey and Kyle Holden not here. Mark Dantuma going to have a huge points night. He'll pull up to probably 3rd in points, closing the gap on Jeff Hinkle and Jared Heasley. Mark Dantuma now almost to the back bumper on Hinkle. 6 laps to go. Steven Gibson just needs to drive safely. From here, he'll get 5 to go. This time by. Mark Nelson appears to be securely in second, but here comes Dantuma looking underneath Hinkle for third place. 5 laps to go. Hinkle gonna fight him on this one, but I don't think he can hold him. Oh, Hinkle's loose off too. Hinkle doesn't lift down the back straightaway, gets a good run into 3. Dantuma on the bottom, 5 lap pressure tires. At the line, it was Dantuma scored in third. And into turn 1, Mark Dantuma is going to clear. He is in third. Not enough time left to catch the top 2, but should be able to pull away from Hinkle. DJ Kenner is holding on for a top 5 run here. Michael Whiting currently sits in 6th place. One of Whiting's best runs of the season so far. Eric Stoy sits back in 7th place, tries to get a run off turn 2. 2 laps to go. Gibson with a 5.3 second lead. Mark Nelson in second, Mark Dantuma in third. Jeff Hinkle, the points leader, in fourth, will maintain his points lead, but will have to deal with Mark Dantuma in the coming weeks. White flag is in the air for Steven Gibson. One more time around. And what a run for Steven Gibson. He is dominated tonight. He pulls across the line. Steven Gibson wins at Atlanta. His first win of the season. Mark Nelson comes home in second. Mark Dantuma will cross the line in third. And let's see if we can talk to our top 3. Hey, Mark, it's Doug. You got me?
I got you, buddy. What's up?
Hey, from not qualifying to finishing third, that was one heck of a run.
Yeah, that was total intense terror the entire time.
We did see you guys were fighting the car all the way around. It looked like sometimes it just wasn't completely loose, but it was just twitching off turn 4.
Yeah, it was kind of weird. Sometimes it'd be just fine, and then you'd come off the corner of the next lap, and you're turning right trying to save the thing.
Well, you definitely had a great job of saving it, and there at the end, coming by Hinkle, that was a pretty impressive run.
Yeah, he had 10 older tires, so I'm not really going to put a feather in my cap for that one. I have the advantage there in tires.
It was a great advantage to have late in the race and got you up for a podium finish. Should move you up to about third, possibly second in points tonight.
Yeah, I'll take it. It's definitely, I needed a good run. It's been a while since I've gotten on the podium.
Well, congratulations, buddy. Great run tonight.
Thanks, Doug.
Mark Nelson comes home in second. Mark, you continue to do what you need to do to make up for those early missed races.
Yeah. Hey, I got a question for you, Doug.
Yeah.
Should wrists be red?
What?
My wrists be red. Oh, that was a demanding race. That was a real wrist breaker.
I am sure it was. You guys had your hands full the entire time, and like Dan Tuma was saying a minute ago, you'd come off the turn one time, the car'd be fine. The next time, you were flying all over the place trying to save it.
Yeah, there was a few times where I'd be going through the corner, and all of a sudden I would just hear that faint sound of my tires going, and I'm just like, no. That was like 15 laps in, and that was all we had to deal with there. So we definitely had more problems than we didn't, but we did it green all the way. That's incredible.
That was an incredible job. Everybody did an amazing job of saving the cars tonight, but man, a great run to come home in second. You've got to be relieved, and it's definitely a big feather in your cap after the missing those few races.
Yes, it is. You couldn't have said it better myself.
Congratulations, Mark. Great run.
Thank you very much, Doug.
And let's see if we can find our winner. Steven, that was probably the most dominant win we have seen so far this season.
Yeah, that was a long race. 110 lap, and I am drenched in sweat right now. I need to go drink some water and hydrate after this. That was pretty tense right there, having to manage the tires and not slip the car, because it's just such a slippery track, and trying to just maintain top speed as much as you can. And yeah, that was a challenge right there for sure.
I know both Marks said they're tired. You mentioned being sweaty. Mark Nelson even said his wrists were hurting after that one. Arms tired after that race?
Not my arms, but my foot is definitely hurting from being in that brake position, trying to trail brake most of the race, and my foot muscles are pretty tired right now. I'm gonna have to take a little break or something.
Well, it was definitely worth it, man. First win of the season and a dominant win. Definitely a great points night for you. Congratulations, Steven.
Yep, and I would just like to say also to Zach and Kyle, because they've been wanting me to say this. I'm confident.
Congratulations, man.
Thank you, Doug. Appreciate it.
Steven Gibson pulls off the win, and he is very confident, apparently. I'm going to have to get the story on that one. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. We'll see you tomorrow night, 7:30 Eastern for Jones BS Racing. Hope y'all have a great night.